Coffee with the Editor is proudly brought to you by IRZ and the Railway Safety Regulator, RSR. Xavier, thank you so much for joining me for Coffee with the Editor. You've been in South Africa, you've been with Alstom for 20 years.
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Hey, that's quite an achievement.
That's for a long time indeed, and thank you, Philippa, for having me. Indeed, I've been with Alstom for 20 years, more than 20 years, so more than 20 years in the rail industry. The last 2 years in South Africa. I arrived in the country in 2017, and well, I can tell you it's quite a challenge. I've been in other countries before, but South Africa in itself is quite a challenge. I'm so proud and so excited to be part of this new journey, new adventure, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, rail project ever in the industry, so very proud to be here now. What I can tell you about South Africa is, after 2 years, I'm still discovering a lot of things. I'm still learning new things. I like people. They are so enthusiastic. They're so warm, willing to learn new things. So that's very something different. And then the country is a new democracy, so full of hope for the future. So quite an interesting opportunity for me.
What have you found to be the biggest adjustment coming to South Africa?
Look, maybe the biggest adjustment is the culture, the way you deal with things, the way you address things, the knowledge in the industry, the skills available in the country. But that's why we are here as well, to bring new technology, to develop new skills.
So if you take your 20 years with Alstom, and I'm sure you have travelled the world, you, I'm sure, look at Africa and just see it as a land of opportunity for new things, specifically in the rail sector.
If you look at Africa in general, or South Africa in particular, there are many opportunities. If you look at where we are today, for instance, in Africa, because Alstom is not only in South Africa, Alstom is a bit everywhere in Africa, in the north, in Morocco, in Algeria, in Tunisia, and now in the south. The market is very dynamic. The market is dynamic, and there are several, let's say, drivers for this market. One is, I would say, urbanization. By 2050, South Africa, for instance, the population is expected to be in the range of 70 to 80% living in urban area. Population growth. Africa, by 2050, should be like a quarter of the world. Then it's emerging, but maybe more emerging in this part of the world, but there is a growing concern for environmental processes. So all of this obviously creates demand for mobility needs, and Alstom is well positioned to answer these demands.
From a global group perspective, I mean, there's a 2020 strategy, there's objectives that you have for here in terms of 2023. How does your international global strategy, filter down into the South African or African context?
You're right. You mentioned the 2020 strategy. I mean, this 2020 strategy of Alstom was a success. Alstom now is one of is the most global player in the rail industry. Now, earlier this year in June, Alstom announced the new strategy plan for 2023. This plan is called Alstom in Motion. This plan is articulated or based on 3 pillars, which are called grow, innovate, and deliver. Grow how? Well, by providing our customer with greater added value. Innovate by introducing new technology, providing new solution in your green mobility, in your smart mobility. And deliver, we have a huge backlog of projects to deliver to our customer. How to deliver efficiently this project is key for us, and being able to deliver on time at the expected level of quality and cost. And obviously this is driven by one Alstom team, and we share the same values. We share the agility, we share the inclusion, we embrace differences, and we share the responsibility. We want to be responsible to our society, to our employees, to our customer. And this is the same for South Africa. So we apply exactly the same in South Africa with our JV. Here in South Africa, we are mainly present through 2 JVs, one with local partners. One is called Gibela, and in this one we have a local partner, Ubunye and New Africa Rail. And the other one is Alstom Ubunye, with different local partners, CTE and IDC. So through this JV, we implement the same strategy in South Africa, and basically the ambition of Alstom is clear, to be the leading global innovative player for sustainable and smart mobility.
So we talk about sustainable and smart mobility, and then just now you mentioned the word digital. As an OEM, how much emphasis is placed on the digital aspect? I mean, where do you see this technology going? So if we took the next 10 years, where do you see it?
It starts with doesn't start, but it includes also the way you operate. We call it smart operation. How do we use less paper everywhere? How do we bring new technology, new digital technology on board the train, on board the system? So we've launched an ambitious program to be every day more and more digital. As I said, in everything we do, in the processes, in the way that you implement your manufacturing processes, in the way you operate, in the way you manufacture your product. So it's everywhere in the company.
So out of all of the Alstom sites, which would you say is the most advanced from a digital perspective?
Well, that it's difficult to say, but when Alstom starts a new operation in a given country, what we bring to the country is the latest technology. Look at what we've done for Gibela, for instance, of Alstom Ubunye. We bring the top class, we bring the world-class manufacturing to the country. So it's a first division, if I may use the football example. So it's a first division factories. Gibela is the latest technology in terms of the way you manufacture your trains. Ubunye, the latest technology, processes, equipment, robots in terms of the way you manufacture components. So again, when we set up in a country, we bring the latest technology to make a world-class site.
So here in South Africa, between Alstom Ubunye and Gibela, you've got approximately 1,500 local employees. How does that relate, to the rest of Alstom from an Africa perspective and Middle East?
The project we're involved in South Africa is probably one of the biggest, the biggest in the rail industry. So you're right, in South Africa now we have like 1,500 employees with the JVs. This is like 30% of Alstom in Middle East and Africa. But if you look at Alstom global presence, it's 5%. So 5% of Alstom global population, if I may call it global population, is in South Africa.
Wow, okay.
And we are here for the long term. This project is a long term, and we are not looking at this project but other opportunities. So yes, South Africa is key for Alstom.
So do you see these numbers as you ramp up production between Gibela and this facility? Do you see that 1,500 going to more, or do you think it'll stabilize at that?
If we look at the PRASA project, because we talk about the PRASA project now for South Africa, which is a very ambitious program, not only about train delivery, by the way, also about signaling, infrastructure, and the way you change the industry in South Africa. But if you look at the PRASA project, we're talking about a long-term project. We are just at the beginning. We have already delivered the first South African trains made by South African for South Africa. And yes, the ramp-up will go on. So first we need to stabilize this industrial process, industrial ramp-up, but we'll keep on growing.
Your thoughts about the future of rail. So you said urbanization, so that really does talk to the development of passenger transport.
Yes.
Do you see trams playing a big role in Africa or Southern Africa?
There will be more and more need in terms of your urban transport. It will take time, but cities are developing, cities are becoming bigger and bigger. People are coming to the city, economic growth. So the need is there for a modern, reliable, safe transport mean. And there will be other need for trains similar to the PRASA train. There will be need, and we are convinced, for other urban solution. Could be your tram solution, electrical bus solution, and not only in South Africa. Yet other cities in South Africa are looking at how they could integrate transportation system in their city. But other countries as well, like in Angola, for instance, Luanda need to address this need for how do we transport our people in the city. Namibia as well. So indeed, we see this at the beginning of the process. And it's a long-term process, and we are here for the long term.
outside of the standard rolling stock, I mean, the product range offered by Alstom.
So Alstom has the largest portfolio in the rail industry. So yes, we do some rolling stock, and the full range of rolling stock is starting with tramway. You mentioned the tramway system, the metro, regional train, suburban train like the Praza train. Your very high-speed train. A very high-speed train is everywhere now, in Europe, in Africa, in Morocco, for instance. And that's for the rolling stock, electrical bus. But then on top of the trains, we address the global market, the global portfolio. I mean, your signaling solution, how to make sure that the train operates safely, your infrastructure, your track, your catenary, the maintenance, how you maintain this system over the lifetime. Train signaling infrastructure is an asset that are supposed to last for a long period of time. So we support the customer. We have different models to support the customer through the lifetime. And on top of that, we provide integrated solution where you combine all of this to make one solution for a specific need. And Alstom is one of the leaders for these turnkey global solutions.
In terms of technology, so is it hydrocarbon?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen.
Okay. So I mean, that's pretty exciting.
It is indeed.
Is that the latest tech in terms?
In terms of your train, yes. And it's driven by the need to have cleaner, greener solution. So that's something Alstom has developed, is committed to a greener solution. So yes, we have developed a train based on hydrogen. It's your regional type of train. It's a green train. That's part of the innovation that brings Alstom to the market.
Would think that Alstom as a group probably spends a significant amount of money annually on research and development.
Indeed, Alstom invests a lot in R&D, so in green mobility, in smart mobility, in your signaling solution, in your train. We have renewed almost all the portfolio in terms of fuel rolling stock. We renewed the very high-speed train solution. We have renewed the metro solution, the regional train. We invest in electrical bus, in green mobility with as well with hydrogen, in your data management system, in your how you could, for instance, if I talk about data management, about maintenance, how you could move from your corrective maintenance to your predictive maintenance. How we could support the customer in optimizing the life cycle cost of their solution. So yes, this is where we have been investing.
Battery technology?
Battery technology is something we already have for part of the fleet, like your tramway system. We are looking at battery application for other solutions. We are looking at autonomous trains. So there are many things ahead of us.
Yeah, so autonomous trains was going to be my next thing. All right. So let's just come back to South Africa and the price deal. And I suppose really the investment for this facility here in Nigel. This really is a big contributor to the industrialization program and creating and meeting local content requirements.
It is indeed. This project, this Praza project for the supply of 600 trains goes beyond the manufacturing program. Indeed, we have an ambitious program to deliver the trains to Praza, and as I said, we have already delivered the first South African trains. We had to set up a brand new facility in Dunotar, which was inaugurated by the president in October last year. Then we had to modernize Alstom Ubunye to bring it up to speed and introduce new technology. But beyond this, I believe our legacy will go beyond manufacturing trains. How will we create jobs? Unemployment in South Africa is quite high. How will we create jobs? Now we are sitting, as you mentioned, we have 1,500 employees. How we keep on creating jobs? How we keep on creating jobs also in the local vicinity of our factories. If you look at Ubunye, for instance, more than 500 employees, 565. More than 80% are coming from the Ekurhuleni municipality. More than 200 are coming from Duduza, sitting next to Niger. So job creation is key for us. Then how do we bring new skills to the country? Skills development. Because skill is what will remain for the future. We've been a rail market lacked of investment for a decade in South Africa. We bring new technology, we bring new processes, we manufacture new products, and we bring new skills that go along with that. And then how do we develop the rail market around our factories? We're not alone in the market. We need supplier. We need local supplier. We have commitment in terms of local content that we take very seriously. So we develop a network of local supplier in South Africa, and we need them. We need them to grow as we grow. As we discussed before, we are still in ramping up phase. They are still in ramping up phase. We need to make sure that they follow, and we need them. So your people, your job creation, your skills, and the way you uplift the community as well. We invest some money in some social projects. So yes, it's a massive program that goes beyond the delivery of the trains.
Absolutely. And you've done like significant investments in terms of bursaries and skills development and training, the welding school, and the team that I have spoken to, the CSI and the CSR. Yeah, I mean, it's significant what you're doing from a long-term perspective.
Exactly. I mean, we see it. We don't look at the short term. We look at the long run. We want to be here for the long run. We believe in the future of the country. Believe in the future of this part of the world, and we are here to stay. And we need people, and we need people. So we invest in people. If you look at Ubunye, for instance, 50% of our employees are 40 or less. If you look at Gibela, it's even higher. Gibela is above 80%. And we need these people, and we need people. We believe it's part of our commitment to the country to uplift the communities. So yes, we have invested a lot in some, for instance, math and science program. We have created a welding school in Diduza, Sibanel Wesishle, that was funded by Alstom Foundation. And this is to give skills to young people that are needed for the rail market in South Africa.
From the messaging that I've gathered, Alstom Ubunye, you want to be recognized as a sustainable world-class facility.
Indeed. Alstom Ubunye, the vision that we have for Alstom Ubunye with our local partners is indeed to be a world-class manufacturer of sustainable mobility solution for Africa, beyond Africa, and done by Africa. So we are cautious. We do it step by step. We know that we have what we have in hand now. We need to make sure it's stable. Then we know we still have to gain in maturity, in efficiency, and then we will look beyond. So what is that we can do beyond the Praza project? What did we can do for other OEM? What did we can do for the surrounding country in Africa? Can we provide our products somewhere else in the world? And this will be done by South African.
All right, so we briefly touched on some of the opportunities like in Angola and Namibia, but I'd like to explore Southern Africa a bit more deeply in terms of the opportunities you see.
Okay.
And certainly, by product or and kind of like a timeline. The rail industry decisions aren't made in 2 days' time, so that's sustainability of business development.
You're right. I mean, rail business is a long cycle. It's based on a long cycle. We're talking about massive program, significant investment, but we are here to also guide our customers and explain what are the solutions, how we can answer their needs. So first, we by being local, by being here in South Africa or in Africa in general, we are close to our customer to better understand their needs, best understand the need of the passenger. And based on that, we are well equipped, given our large portfolio, to provide them with solution. It could be urban solution. We mentioned tramway solution. It could be metro solution. It could be regional train. It could be signaling upgrade. How you make sure you operate this train, passenger train or freight train, with safe and reliable solution. How to upgrade your infrastructure, because you can have modern trains, but the infrastructure has not been upgraded, then you will face some issues. But again, we look at the long term, how we can make sustainable solution for the decades to come. Allow me to dream a bit bigger, if I may say so. High-speed train. Why not?
Did you read that off my piece of paper?
No, I did not. But why not? Why not here in South Africa?
But we're talking about high speed.
We are talking. The president talk about that. Let's look at it. Let's again step by step. Let's be cautious the way we do it. But why not? Why not looking at the bigger picture, and why not looking at the very high-speed train indeed? So again, Alstom is well equipped to address this market.
And you have some very high, I think you even call them very high speed.
We call them very high-speed train indeed.
Yes.
So
what separates a high speed from a very high speed?
The speed, basically. So your high-speed train will run above 300 kilometers per hour. And these solutions are not only for European country, they are everywhere now. So I think we can dream a bit bigger and look at that as well.
So let's also talk about like advanced technology and in Africa. So what you're doing in Morocco.
In Morocco, we're doing different things. We have tramway system there. We have a very speed train. So yeah, tramway is definitely something I like to develop, and you've heard me talking several times about this.
Yes.
I like this. I believe there's something to be done here. Yeah. The tramway is not only seen as a transport mean. Tramway has an impact on the image of your city. Tramway can be seen as going beyond transportation program and the way you change the image of your city, the way you integrate. Yeah, it's part of a global urbanization program, and it has an impact of the image of the city. It's very powerful. So yeah, I like to dream a bit on this one as well. And
I haven't really seen a tram up front and personal, and then I went to Trams, and I absolutely fell in love. I love the idea of this, like almost hop on, hop off scenario, and how it does bring status and integrate and change the dynamics of how your city moves.
Exactly, it's clean first. It's clean. Transportation means it's very fluid in a city. It integrates very well in any city. We even have solution whereby you don't need catenary to provide electricity to your tram. To respect the historical center, for instance.
Because it runs on the line in the middle with that.
Exactly.
Yes.
The power comes from the ground. We call that APS system. It's very safe. It's been operated for many years in other cities, like in Bordeaux in France, for instance, but in other cities as well. And as I said, the way you change the image of your city, the way you embark your passenger, the people live in a city to improve the quality of their life, to make sure that they don't spend so many years, sometimes hours in transport, and we know that in South Africa, to visit their family, visit their relatives, go to work, and you will see that people easily adopt the system and make the system theirs.
So do you still have the tram in a box?
It's what we call the integrated solution. So it's whereby you look first at the need. Okay, what is the need? We need to transport so many people from point A to point B. Okay, how do we do that? How many people we need to transport? Okay, what will be the best solution to address the need? And then it's not only about your trains. Trains is what usually the passenger will see. But how do you operate the train, the trams, for instance? Well, I need tracks. Okay, how do we put tracks in a city? How do we integrate them in the pavement? We do that. How do we operate them safely? Here comes the signaling part of it. How do you integrate the communication? We bring the communication. How do you bring the power supply, whether it's with your catenary or without catenary? We do that as well. And then how do we put that together to make sure that all these subsystems are going to work? And this is what we do. And the benefit of integrated solution is that all the risks are managed by one entity only. It doesn't mean that Alstom will do it on its own. It can be alone or with supplier, with some partners that will come along. But for a new entity, like a newcomer in the market, will be like, okay, I want to have that, but maybe I don't have the experience yet or the knowledge yet to do so. So in terms of risk sharing, it's much better because the responsibility, there's one project looking at your cost, one project looking at your execution program, so responsibility lie with one entity. And this is what we bring.
So, Xavier, in closing, for our wonderful Coffee with the Editor session, what are your views and opinions on this market?
Thank you, Philippa, again for having me. As I said, I see many opportunities. I like what I've discovered in this country. We've embarked on a huge program, a long program for South Africa. we have to deliver these 600 trains, but we see other opportunities. That's just the beginning of the story. Yes, the trains is significant. This program is significant. There will be more trains. The need for South Africa goes beyond the 600 trains. The need for infrastructure solution, for signaling solution, for other mobility solution, tramway, and why not tomorrow very high-speed train is there. And with the investment done in the country, with the people that we have, and we'll get more people, with the skills that we have been developing with our team, because we need our team to make it a success, they will be equipped for the long term. And we are committed for the long run and the long term of this country. But allow me to talk about the surrounding countries. Then South Africa can be a base for the surrounding country. We have this footprint. We'll have factories, we'll have suppliers, local suppliers that can be with us and explore the rest of Africa together. So this is what we want for South Africa and the surrounding countries.